asks now is, Les, you've been diagnosed with ADHD. Is there any steps that Lou can take to maybe get a more better understanding of this condition? Or
Well, I mean, I'd recommend, the way I discovered about it was that I went on ADHD, who I now write for.
What they called, sorry, ADD?
ADHD.
Okay.
And they do like a little test. There's one for women as well, because I know that there's more inattentive symptoms in women. Just gives you a good idea. It's not an official thing, but it's equally not one of those BuzzFeed quizzes that, like find out which type of ADHD your cat is.
Yeah.
Turns out all dogs have it. I think there's a book that's like all dogs have ADHD, but ADHD was the way I started, and then I started reading about it, and then in fact we were talking I was writing to this guy who commented on one of our posts the other day, and it's quite an emotional moment, because there's a lot of things that start clicking in, and it's very much pieces falling into place, and there's also kind of way though I think a lot of people kind of look at it and then relate to it. And that's why we're kind of finding that it's almost like a little bit of a Twitter trend at the moment. But I genuinely think that there is kind of the side of it, like people are forgetful. I mean, I can't, it took me 20 minutes to make a coffee this morning because I kept getting distracted by the laundry and everything like that. And none of it's been finished, but half of it's done.
It's funny. I watched this video the other day of this guy, and it was like a comedy one, because on social media,
most comedians have
got lots of people doing.
I know that Ed Byrne has it, for example. Yeah, he just found it out.
It's like this guy, and he takes his washing from one side of the room to the other, and then to the other side, and then he tidies up one cupboard, and he stands there and he's like dancing because he's achieved something. And I'm like,
it's the finishing blow. It's fucking impossible.
When you're completely overwhelmed, like at the moment, I'm like living out of boxes and laundry bags and things like that. Yeah. It's discombobulating, but I can hold it together. Like there's a side to me that's very when I'm really clear on stuff, I've got a place for everything. I can tell you exactly what I label a box, and that's my holiday box with my plugs and my travel tags and everything. And then there's the other side to me where I'll just have washing on my floor that I've not washed for 2 weeks. So I can be a mucky pup, and then I can be really tidy.
I gamified that by getting the kind of basket I've got it in the same place everywhere I lived. I knew, it's just that perfect throwing the toss distance.
Yeah.
So you kind of, there is that gamification of it, so it's kind of fun to do it.
But I do think that there's a lot of in my role as a play therapist. I wanted to
ask about that actually.
I work.
What's the difference between that? What's the play therapist thing?
Right. So the difference between play therapy and say just being a counsellor is most counsellors, correct me if I'm wrong out there, counsellors, I won't be offended, but most counsellors go through a training journey, like level 2, level 3, level 4. Most counsellors, when they do their level 2, level 3, level 4s, they train to work with adults. When you want to work with children, you have to do a level 5, a level 6 or level 7, which is a master's.
Is that right? In addition to? Because I did a level 2.
If you want to be a counsellor with adults, when I trained to be a play therapist, I never wanted to work with adults because for me, a lot of my early traumatic experiences happened to me young. And it wasn't until I got to I was a very old soul, I'd say, and I was very... people, when people go, you've got an old soul, what they actually mean is, in psychology, it's called pseudo-maturation. And often, if you've been forced to grow up quick in your childhood, you've matured, and often you may have taken the role of a parent. Yeah. You may have taken on this maturity. No, I'm fine.
Oh,
sorry, just burping. Sorry, I'm like...
No, you're right, don't worry about it. I mean, I think you're
I should try and do a bit of beatboxing down the way.
Yeah, we'll deal with it in post.
But,
right, Marlon?
But yeah, so the play therapy for me, I'd had 10 years working as a teacher. You had to show extensive experience of working with kids.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and then I.
Also, there's nothing worse than when you write down, I just want to work with kids. Oof.
Well, children,
as a bloke.
Teaching has been brilliant. Teaching for me was a bridge over troubled water.
Do you find it quite cathartic?
It was at the time, and it allowed me to exercise a lot of my creativity. I used to do early years because I loved child development and play with the kids, and they were just smart, really fun. You're not going to get any bullshit with kids. You get pure honesty. Fun bullshit. Yeah. But when I trained as a play therapist, I realised I just wanted to help I didn't want to help a class of 30. I wanted to help the few that struggled. I wanted to have greater impact for the few. So play therapy is... a lady called Virginia Axline came up with principles where children, the natural form of expression is play. So children, and this is very true, if a child experiences a traumatic experience young, they don't have the cognitive skills or the language acquisition or the articulation to turn around and say to you, you know what, that thing that happened has really thrown me. That thing that happened has really hurt me. I'm angry, I'm rageful, I just want to hurt something. Instead, they'll internalise it. So play therapy allows children to come into a safe space. I provide a multitude of tools. I offer them clay, sand tray, which is all based in Jungian psychology. I offer them art in terms of paint and drawing. I offer them model making. I offer them dress up, movement, instruments.
Do you not offer them any electronic kind of toys? Like,
I offer them, I offer them, I can do laptop and we can do Minecraft, play Minecraft.
Fun, yeah.
But
it's basically like Lego but infinite.
Yeah, and you basically allow them to pick what they want. So when you're in the room with a child, you have to resume the permissive role, and they are the person that leads in the room. So you have to allow them to trust you to a point where they will then start playing out the things that have upset them, and that's where you meet them. So when they say, well, so I use a lot of sand tray, and a lot of other therapists out there will know it's an effective tool. So you provide them a sand tray, and the origins of sand tray state that the sand tray you provide must always have a blue base, because the blue base represents the deep, the iceberg.
Does it matter? Is there a specific shade of blue that
no, it just has
best?
to be a certain kind of blue.
Okay.
Yeah, and it represents the deep. And some people believe that, as sand tray theorists, Jungian analysts, they'll believe that the more of that blue that the child shows, like the more of the sand they move, the more of the blue that they reveal is indicative and symbolic of the depth that they're showing you of their injuries or their
trying to build a really tall castle.
Exactly that as well.
Because I mean, there's also that part, because it's like if you want to build a big heap of castle,
and it's all hearsay. So you can only ever go based on observation, and you can only ever make certain observations, and you can never be certain on anything unless the child says something. But I've had children before that will say to me, something has happened, and I'll go, oh, that must have been really frightening for you. Like, do you think using these sand tools and symbols, you can show me in the sand what that felt like? And so I provide them a series of small figurines, and I have everything: animals, vegetation, trees,
the early
nature.
learning centre loves you.
Well, boot sales and charity shops, yeah. But you know, I've got to the point when I was